Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast brought to you by our friends over at Brier Grieves Insurance. Are you in need of car insurance or do you need to upgrade your car insurance? Well, if you do, there's nobody better to work with in this field than the great people over at Brier Grieves Insurance. Protecting your assets starts with the company that you can count on. So whether it's car insurance or they can help you out as well with homeowners, flood boaters, or business insurance, there's nobody better to work with than Brier Grieves Insurance. For more information about them, visit their website, briergrievesinsurance.com, or you can give them a call at 813-876-4166. That's 813-876-4166. It is a Wednesday edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Thanks to everybody for rocking and rolling with us this afternoon. And we all want to know, what the hell are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers doing? There has been some crazy news that dropped last night in free agency regarding Max Crosby being back on the market. Trey Hendrickson is gone. The Bucs still don't have an edge rusher and have not made a move since the first day of free agency. So there's a lot to talk about, and yet there's nothing to talk about at the same time with the Bucs. This is the Seinfeld episode. Right. It's a show about nothing, but it's a show about everything all at the same time. Yeah. So we got a lot to get into on today's show. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me, Scott Reynolds, SR, PewterReport.com. How are you doing, Scott?
I'm doing great, Matt. We always have you start the show with your intros because they're on point. That might have been one of your top 5 intros right there. It is the Seinfeld show. It is so true, man. We have nothing to say, but yet everything to say today. But let's start with the Maxx Crosby trade, because I know the Buccaneers were in on it to a lesser degree. They weren't going to pay the 2 first-round picks. And even if they did, the Ravens were still going to win that battle because the Ravens picked 14th, where Tampa Bay picks 15th, right? So now John Spytek has got some cap management to do, because he's got $30 million in salary right back on those books for the Las Vegas Raiders. So it's interesting now that he's on the market. Let's see here.
Looks like
looks like we have
you off, but
go ahead.
It looks like the Bucs are tendering Sean Tucker on a 1-year deal as a restricted free agent. And then also separately, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN has reported that free agent quarterback Jake Browning plans to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 1-year deal. So goes from backing up Joe Burrow to backing up Baker Mayfield. So a little bit of news. The show began with nothing, but since then it looks like Sean Tucker's going to be back. And then also the Bucs found their backup quarterback. So a lot has changed within 10 minutes before the show and 5 minutes into it.
Well, yeah. And maybe the Bucs over there read my tweet when I said this has been a disaster of an offseason for them so far. And these moves really don't change it too much. You're talking about a backup running back and a backup quarterback. I mean, they're signing some people. That's a good sign. But neither one of these moves helps the defense get better, right? I mean, I like the fact that Sean Tucker's back a lot. And
I agree.
And I think the Buccaneers kind of came to their senses here a little bit. I love the addition of Kenneth Gainwell. I did a Pewter Pulse video about that. I think that was an absolute great move. Might even be an upgrade over Rachaad White. And that's not, nailing Rachaad White for anything. It just, I think Kenny Gainwell, he's got more acceleration, more speed. His pass protection grade last year per Pro Football Focus was actually better. He's as good of a receiver as Rachaad White is. This guy is just as good, maybe even a touch better. So I think at the very least, the running back room is intact. I think we can say that, right? We have Bucky Irving back, and I think Bucky's going to be very motivated to have a bounce back year from what happened last year. He wasn't happy about that. The team certainly wasn't, but I like this running back room. So that box has been checked, right? They're not going to draft a running back this year. You have Josh Williams as that fourth running back already on the roster. So the running back room is done, and I like it. I like it a lot. But again, I don't think Sean Tucker can rush the passer, right? And we know that Jake Browning is a passer. So, okay, like these little ancillary moves are one thing. The thing that's holding back this Buccaneer team is not the offense. It is the defense, and it needs improvement. And if you're going to be starting Zion McCollum at one corner and Benjamin Morrison, unproven, oft-injured Benjamin Morrison, hopefully not Jamel Dean 2.0. Hopefully this guy is better. Hopefully this guy overcomes those hamstring injuries that plagued him last year and becomes what we all hope he will be, which is an upgrade over Jamel Dean. But Matt, with those two corners out there and Jacob Parrish is maybe good as he was in the nickel and he's entering year 2, I know that the safeties are really the cornerback's best friend because you have double coverage opportunities, but after the safeties, it's the pass rushers, man. It's the guys up front are really the cornerback's best friend. And right now it's still Yaya Diaby and Anthony Nelson. I mean, they've got to do something, man.
It's daunting. It's daunting for sure. So yeah, to get back to kind of like the main topic, because we got sidetracked a little bit with Sean Tucker, which I agree. I like Sean Tucker being back with the Bucs. He's explosive. He can start in a pinch if necessary. Makes a lot of sense that he's back. Jake Browning had a couple starts with the Bengals. Didn't go so great. You need another body. You need another backup. At least he has a little starting experience. But I think why there's even more frustration today than on yesterday's podcast. In yesterday's podcast, the headline was the Bucs need a pass rusher.
Yeah.
The reason why there's so much frustration, and it has to coincide with what happened last night. And for those that maybe missed the news, the Max Crosby trade has been rescinded. The Ravens, I guess no one called no backsies on the trade because the Ravens took it back. They were supposed to send 2 first-round picks to the Raiders.
Yeah. And
in exchange, they get Maxx Crosby. They had their doctors look at Maxx Crosby, and they said, "Nah, never mind. We're not going to do this anymore."
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sketchiness and criticism around it too, because while technically the Ravens didn't do anything wrong, the league year did not begin yet at the time. I think ethically and morally, it's kind of blurring some lines a little bit. I think a lot of people believe, especially now that the Ravens signed Trey Hendrickson, that they realize that they can get Trey Hendrickson without giving up any draft capital, and they'd rather go that route, and he ended up being a little bit less expensive than Maxx Crosby. But there's such a ripple-down effect with this, because it's not just that Maxx Crosby is available now, and that's good news for the Bucs because I guess they're still technically in the running, but there's such a trickle-down effect and a ripple effect because all these teams went, okay, Maxx Crosby's off the board. What's my next move? Am I going after Trey Hendrickson? We saw so many edge rushers signed with teams. The Cowboys traded for an edge rusher.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, tons and tons of players came off the board. And when Maxx Crosby, he's going to be north of $30 million on your salary cap this year. Once you pay for one edge rusher, you're not paying for another.
Right.
So all these teams that may have been in the sweepstakes for Maxx Crosby are no longer eligible. And there's still going to be teams that call. So the frustration is now you let Hendrickson get out the door. Chason, who we were talking about yesterday, signed with a new team. So it really just leaves, Joey Bosa's still out there. I know we said that the Bucs aren't totally interested in him. Yeah, Bradley Chubb. Crosby becomes the next guy. But now it comes down to, again, do the Bucs go against what they truly believe in, which is trading draft capital for a guy? Because even with these new small signings, they could go about it. But the fact that the Bucs are playing musical chairs right now, and it kind of feels like it's Crosby or nothing, it looks like they're going to be without a seat. Jonathan Grenard is available as well, too. But, I mean, the Bucs still have not found their edge rusher, and it's very, very alarming when they have not upgraded the team really in any other way.
To me, if I was going to make a trade, I would go for Maxx Crosby over Jonathan Grenard, just simply because Grenard had back-to-back 12 sack seasons. I think he had 12 and a half with the Texans, and then 12 the first year with the Vikings, and then 3 last year. And so I'm a little concerned that that's kind of a drop off right there, right? And again, we've talked about it. Guys that are getting close to 30 or in their early 30s, sometimes injuries and ineffectiveness start to really creep in. And that was my concern with Trey Hendrickson. I'm still concerned about that with Maxx Crosby. I think Crosby is worth the risk only because of that literal alpha mentality. Like he is a primal hunter of quarterbacks. He is seek and destroy. He is a culture changer in that Todd Bowles locker room that honestly the message has gotten stale. And I think he's the kind of player that can kind of shake things up and bring a badass to this Bucs defense that really doesn't have one, maybe outside of Tyke Smith, to be honest. And you want a badass in your front seven. Not saying you can't have one in your back, your defensive backfield, but to me, I want one up front. And so for that respect, and I'm not saying Jonathan Grenard wouldn't be a good edge rusher, but if it means giving up a first for Maxx Crosby, or if the Vikings are holding out for a 2 for Jonathan Grenard, I'm giving up the first for Maxx Crosby, just because the upside is there. I know there's some risk with the knee injury and his body breaking down. He's had 8 surgeries. I get all that, but at the same time, I do know the guy is a warrior, right? He's not going to be like, ow, I hurt my foot, I can't play.
Exactly.
He pitched a fit when the Raiders put him on injured reserve when there was nothing to play for, right? I mean, there was something to play for. The Raiders wanted to tank and get that number 1 overall pick, but he didn't want any part of it. Like, he wants to play and win. So to me, I would be much more impressed with that move than I would Jonathan Grenard. The other thing too is Maxx Crosby right now, he's not necessarily hunting for a new deal, right? He's got his deal and he's done. With Jonathan Grenard, he wants an extension on top of his deal, and he's already under contract through 2027. So sight unseen, Jonathan Grenard, before he plays it down for you, he's going to want another year or 2 tacked on. Where Maxx Crosby, he's under contract, for the next several seasons, but this is the last year of guaranteed money. If it doesn't work out, right? If he falls apart physically, like, you have an out, right? Like, that guaranteed money is gone after 2026. That's pretty appealing to me. Plus, it drops down to 29 million in 2027, then 26.5, then bumps up a bit in 2029 when he will be 32 to 27.43. But honestly, by then he's going to be a bargain if he's still playing at a high level. So he has per game roster bonuses in there too. So to me, I like that contract better if I had to absorb a contract than the one for Jonathan Grenard, really. Again, because he's under contract through 2027, less money, right? 18.39 million for each of the next 2 seasons. So it's less, but I'm also getting a lesser player. And, he's older than Maxx Crosby. He's 29 and then he'll be 30 next year. So he's just slightly older, but I mean, he's not Maxx Crosby. So if I'm going to give up draft capital, I'm going to go for Max. Would I do it for 2 first-round picks? I don't know about that. It might be too much, but maybe at this point,
right.
John Spike may not be able to get 2 firsts for him.
So exactly. So that's my kind of next question. The other element is in all of this is because the Ravens essentially did a swap and put Maxx Crosby back on the Raiders and took Trey Hendrickson instead, and all these other teams have made moves, not just an edge rusher, but just signing other players, and that takes up cap room and stuff like that. What does that do for the price of Maxx Crosby? Is it still 2 first-round picks for his talents, or does it drop a little bit? Or does the bidding war become so insane that it increases even more, where it goes from 2 first-round picks to 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick, or something like that, something along those lines? I think even if the Bucs are able to get it down to this year's first-rounder and next year's second-round pick, I think I still do that. And, don't look back. Because right now we're looking at this Bucs team And they are doing the same exact plan and the same exact formula that they did last year, and they've been doing for a couple of years now. And it's bargain hunting, it's relying on your draft picks, and it's relying on developing these players. And sure, they've had some really good draft picks, but they haven't had stars like we've talked about.
Right.
They're just kind of doing the same thing over and over and over. What can justify Todd Bowles and some of the coaches that he's kept? And by the way, edge rusher and inside linebacker are two positions of coaches that they kept on this staff.
That's right.
Why are we to believe that now, all of a sudden, with this eureka moment that Todd Bowles has had, why is the light bulb going to go off now and say, oh, they're going to draft these guys and develop, and they're going to make immediate impacts? Because that's what you need right now is immediate impact players. Yeah. They cannot draft an edge rusher right now and say, oh, he's going to be great in 2 seasons from now. That's when we are really going to see the dividends pay off. Todd Bowles does not have that time. And right now, Jason Licht doesn't have that time either. So I think right now, I'm an advocate of F them picks and go out and get a game changer. Get a mauler, a brawler, a shot caller like Max Crosby, a guy that will ball out and put everything on the line to go out and win football games. Because if not, if you go the route of Bosa or some of these other guys that'll be around 10 million, maybe 12 million, you're essentially saying it's Hassan Reddick all over again. And the thing with Max Crosby is that he's got a way more proven track record bringing him in for this season than Hassan Reddick did going in to last season. So it's not even comparable in that sense. And you make a great point as well. The guaranteed money is only for 1 more year. So if it doesn't work out, you can wipe the slate clean all over again. And yeah, you gave up a first and a second, but at least you went for it. I think that's the problem right now with the Bucs. They're not going for it. And we understood it the past couple of years, but it feels like it's now or never. Go for it. You have a second chance at Max Crosby.
I know.
Go for it.
I know. And the thing too is what did Max Crosby have last year in terms of sack production? Didn't even play the full season. He had 10 sacks last year, right? We haven't visibly seen on the stat sheet or the PFF grade or whatever. We haven't seen the fall off yet. So you know what? If that happens in Tampa Bay, if they trade for him and it happens, okay, you got me, you fooled me, and I took a swing and I struck out, right? The Jonathan Grenard trade, we've already seen the fall off, right? From 12 sacks to 3. That's concerning. Just like we saw from Philadelphia to New York with the Jets with Hassan Reddick, right? And they didn't want to believe that Hassan Reddick had already lost the step. Guess what? He lost the step. 2.5 sacks last year, right? They witnessed the fall off, the 1 sack in 10 games, and they wrote off and said, well, the Jets are a dumpster fire. Sorry, Matt. That
they've been in the playoffs for 15 years.
Right? Yeah, I'm just telling the truth, right? But the Jets are a dumpster fire. Extenuating circumstances. He held out. By the time he actually saw the field, 7 games in, they already fired their coach. And it just didn't work out. It was just a weird situation. But we're going to get the best of Hassan Reddick. Every single team he's played for is on our schedule. We're going to have the Hassan Reddick Revenge Tour, right? And then in week 1, he got 1 sack and 4 pressures against a 3rd string Falcons tackle. And looking back now, that should have been like, it should have been a red flag because he didn't abuse that tackle. Like it was kind of a stalemate outside of a play here or there. And my point is the Buccaneers saw the fall off, statistically speaking, and also just on film, and they didn't want to believe it. Well, we haven't seen the fall off with Max Crosby yet.
Correct.
Still had a damn good year last year. I'd rather cast my lot there than necessarily go with the Jonathan Grenard trade, or just signing a Al-Quadin Muhammad or a Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb has not gotten any play this year. I almost forgot that he was still a free agent. So maybe the league is trying to send a message to everybody saying is he done? Is he cooked? Does he want too much money? What's happening? I haven't heard anything about Joey Bosa either. So there's a couple of options out there. But what we're talking about here is another Hassan Reddick type, another low sack, probably $10+ million, guy on a 1-year deal, it's not going to move the needle much. You hope that you get more than 5 sacks for that type of investment, especially when Yaya Diaby's proven on a rookie deal he can get 7.5 at 7. But we'll see.
That we will. It's very hard to sit here right now and act like, oh, the Bucs are going to be better in 2026 based on the re-signings they've made and the 2 new additions. And in fairness, there is still ways to go in free agency. We're kind of at the tail end of like the first wave. There will be a couple of more waves, and obviously the draft will tell a lot as well.
Yeah.
But we can't right now on March 11th say, oh, this Bucs team is better now than they were when the season ended.
Yeah.
There's no way you can say that. So
we
got a lot of super chats to get
Let's
to.
Get to them.
We appreciate everyone's passion, and so we're going to get to all of it. Starting with Robbie Gordon. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Says, you must overpay for top talent to come to this. I'm fine with that, though, because the Bucs have sent their initiative of we won't give up a lot of draft capital. And it hasn't really gotten them anywhere, really, since 2021. And I get it.
Yeah.
They had to budget the checkbook and everything like that and go for some cheaper options here and there. They're getting out of that point. And I understand the season is teetering, and if it doesn't work out, you kind of end up blowing it up. But I don't know. Sometimes you got to take a risk, and the Bucs have been so risk averse that now seems like the time to go and do it when a lot of other competitors and opponents that maybe you would have had for Maxx Crosby aren't there anymore because of the whole chicanery of last night.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like Howie Roseman, and he doesn't get any flack because he does so many moves that, and he knows not all of them are going to work out. But the Bryce Huff signing was awful. Okay. The Bryce Huff signing was terrible. And he had a really good year with the Jets, and it just didn't work out. But they went to the Super Bowl and won it, even with Bryce Huff being inactive for the freaking Super Bowl, right? Because he had done enough in the draft, he had done enough in free agency and with trades, and it's like, it's like if you want to go to Hard Rock and win a bunch of money, I mean, sometimes you can't bet more than, if you bet 75 cents on the video slots, ooh, I won $40, right? I mean, you sit there, hit the $5 thing, and all of a sudden you might win a couple grand.
Yeah.
The more risk you get, sometimes the more reward you get too.
Exactly. And let's not forget what Bruce Arians always loves to say, no risk it, no biscuit. Hayden Bucs fan, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says, Light is a sleeper agent who hates Todd Bowles as much as us and wants him fired. I can't be convinced otherwise. This offseason has been a disaster. Again, with the caveat of there is still more to go. It did enter my mind today, like, are the Bucs just kind of deliberately tanking? Because Mike leaves, no necessarily big signings, and Alex Anzalone, he is a Florida guy, so I'm sure he was more than happy to come to the state of Florida to begin with. Kenneth Gainwell, I mean, running backs. Oh, it looks like Bradley Chubb. Speaking of who we were just talking about, Adam Schefter tweeted, Bradley Chubb reached an agreement on a 3-year. Oh, he's going to Buffalo. So, Bradley Chubb off the board for the
Bradley
Bucs.
Chubb off the board.
Yes. And then, free agent running backs, you're just trying to find the best deal that you can get. But yeah, outside of that, it kind of feels like they're tanking. And it's not that that Jason Layton's going to do that, because if they tank and then Todd's out, well, who's on the hot seat next? Him. Right. So bold strategy, Cotton, as they say in Belgium.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I love good conspiracy theory. I do. I mean, aliens, sure, why not? Right. Yeah. Antarctica, let's look there. Let's dig into Antarctica a little bit. So like, I'm all about that. But and this is not any insight or any knowledge or any of this kind of stuff, but we have to remember a couple of facts here, right? That Jason Light didn't hire Todd Bowles.
Correct.
And really neither did the Lasers. That was Bruce Arians' decision on March 30th to sit there and say, I'm out. And if I were you, I'd make Todd my replacement, right? They had to do that. They literally had to do that. Free agency was already done. They're less than a month away from the draft. They literally had to accept Bowles. And then, 8-9, and then the next year 9-8. Okay, all right, moving in the right direction. You got to the divisional playoff games, kept it close with the Lions to the fourth quarter. Okay, all right. Baker Mayfield now instead of Tom Brady. All right, okay. And then the next season, 10 wins. I get that, but it feels like 10 wins is like the cap for Todd Bowles. Like I'd be shocked if this team won more than 10 games in any season with Todd, because he's had 8 years as a head coach now. 8. And he's had 2 10-win seasons, one with the Jets and one here. He's had more losing seasons than winning seasons in his 8 years. Mm-hmm. And that's just what he is. And it's like, you can look at the 49ers and, even last year with all the injuries they had, they won 12 games. 12 in the NFC West that had 2 other playoff teams, Seattle, which won the whole damn thing, and the Rams. But that's just how good of a coach Kyle Shanahan is. Kyle Shanahan, in the last 7 years, has gone to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 13 games twice. He's won 12 games twice. And then he's had a 10-win season. And it's like, I don't blame Mike Evans for wanting to be a part of that, because the guy's a winner. He's had revolving door defensive coordinator, right? But yet, he's dealt with injuries and still won. So is there a part of this where maybe Jason and or the Glazers, I don't know, maybe they said, Todd, you're going to get another year. But, dude, we got 6 players that are making $20 million in terms of cap value. 6. The Seattle Seahawks just won the Super Bowl with 2 guys that had cap values of $20 million. So it's kind of like, hey, this is our roster. We've spent a shit ton of money. Go coach and win. Coach it better, play it better. That's what you always say, right, Todd? Coach it better, play it better. All right, we're not going to do squat this year. We're going to give you the same team that started off, 6-2 last year. Mm-hmm. Okay? Coach it better, play it better. Now we'll get you an experienced offensive coordinator, so you don't have to worry about the offense. You just worry about your defense. We'll get you some more good draft picks. We'll load it up again on defense. Coach.
For sure. I agree.
Maybe that's what the strategy is.
The other thing that's entered my mind as well, I've thought about this not just today, but several times before. How much of it are the Bucs just like a couple of players away versus how much are they just a coach away from being a contender? Because you can't do this obviously, but if Sean McVay was the coach, if Sean McVay took over the Bucs in 2022 when Bowles became the head coach, or Kyle Shanahan, what is their record from 2022 to 2025? How far would they have gone? Part of me thinks okay, maybe we wouldn't be as doom and gloom about this team right now if they just had a different head coach. I know. And obviously we can't play that game because that's not how it played out. But, you can daydream about it here and there.
And I don't want to I'm a guy, I like to – I've always had the belief that the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror for a reason, right? Because you have to drive looking through the big-ass windshield, right? Otherwise, you're going to crash. If you go through life looking at the rear view mirror, you're going to crash. And there's a reason why the windshield is a hell of a lot bigger than the small little rear view mirror, right? Because you can't live in the past. No, I'm just saying, Liam Cohen went to a downtrodden Jaguars team. It couldn't take a single coach with him. So he had an entirely new staff, and he injected life into that. He turned around Trevor Lawrence. The dude can coach. 13 wins to go from 4-13 to 13-4 in one season. That's a coaching job.
There's no doubt about it. And on top of that, too, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, Travis Hunter was a non-factor on that team. He got injured early on. And Brian Thomas Jr. is a trade target now.
Yeah.
And they still, won all those games and won their division. No Logic, thanks for the $9.99, says, no need to throw money away on anyone else. There's no move we can make allowing us to compete with the NFC North or West, plus the other good teams that made win now trades, not Bowles. I mean, I think part of being in the NFL is just get into the dance and then see what happens. Sometimes you get hot at the right time and you take that momentum all the way. I mean, I think the Bucs Super Bowl is a great example of that. Right. They went undefeated after the bye week and
Yep.
rode that momentum into the playoffs, and obviously went undefeated in the playoffs because you have
Yep.
to do that to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And they accomplished that. So I don't know. With the re-signing of like K-Dot and stuff like that, it shows that they're not just like laying down their sword and rolling over just yet, especially when you have like Baker as your quarterback.
Yeah.
But it feels like they're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, which I don't necessarily love seeing.
Yep.
Kay Leard, thank you for the $5 super chat, says Light and the Glazers have to know that they need capable edge rushers to win games. Why retain Bowles? The Bucs are just going to stand pat.
The only other thing I can think about, because I saw this question, I'm sitting here thinking, right, is maybe the Glazers want an offensive-minded head coach, right? And this was not really the cycle for that.
Yeah, right?
I mean, you had Clint Kubiak, and honestly, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Kevin Stefanski, right? Just from a coaching standpoint. X's and O's, I like Clint Kubiak as an offensive coordinator. As a leader of men, I don't know that he's going to light up the room and hold my attention, right? I'm just saying, like, his personality is just not typically what you think of as a head coach. Sometimes it works, but I think even Tony Dungy, who's kind of a soft-spoken guy, had more of an aura about him than Clint Kubiak does. So we'll see how he does in Vegas. Kevin Stefanski, again, I've told you that before. I'm not a fan. 2 NFL head coaches of the year honors, but more losing seasons than winning. So maybe that was it. Maybe the Glazers just said, we're not ready to pull the trigger now because there's really no viable option. And I'm not a fan of, hire Nate Shieldhouse. He hasn't called plays.
Yeah.
You have to see how these guys call plays first. So maybe the cloakroom conspiracy theory strategy that this team may or may not have is, let's get Zach Robinson, give him a shot. Maybe he's the next Liam Cohen, maybe with a lot more weapons and a way better offensive line and a better quarterback. He lights it up in Tampa, then he becomes a head coaching candidate, and we don't stub our toe again when Liam Cohen left, and we probably should have gone after him rather than keeping Bowles. Maybe they learned their lesson. Maybe they're looking for that, or they're hoping that there's more offensive-minded head coaches in the next cycle, because I don't know. They've won 2 Super Bowls with John Gruden and Bruce Arians, 2 offensive-minded, feisty guys. It seems like it's been the formula for success here in Tampa, and Todd Bowles doesn't check either one of those boxes.
For sure. No doubt about it. I did say on yesterday's show, too, like, if you think the Bucs are going to tank, just root for their offense. Because if their offense does well, you could have Zach Robinson come in. And I think that would what would help that cause as well is if the offense is truly humming and everything like that. I could see Bowles being like, what the heck, man? Like, I hired you. I brought you in here. But the Bucs argument would be, like, we wanted to hire other offensive coordinators, but none would take the job because they either found better jobs or didn't want to come to this situation.
That's right.
That you kind of put the team in, Todd.
Yep.
And the Glazers are responsible for it as well. But there's not exactly that same connection. Like, Zach Robinson's been around the league. He's been in other organizations. It's not like I wouldn't be here without Todd Bowles. You know? So you kind of like avoid that awkwardness as well a little bit.
And we've already seen this too with Dirk Cutter getting the job, replacing Lovie Smith, the defensive-minded head coach. Yeah,
that as well. Yeah. Word to that. Thanks for the $5 super chat. Says, have the Glazers decided to tank this season? Losing key free agents, no big free agent signings, keeping Bowles makes sense. If that is the case, blow it all up in 27.
I don't think the strategy is that, because I agree with what Matt said. You want this team to do well. I mean, there's a world where this team goes 9-8, wins the division again, loses in the first round of the playoffs, and maybe it's the fault of the defense. I mean, in other words, like, let's just play out like that 10 and the
2024 season.
The 2024 season, the 10-win season, right? If that happens again, like, that's not a bad season. You won 10 games, you won the division, you had a home playoff game. And if it's the fault of the defense, or if it's just Todd Bowles not making strategic in-game decisions, you just say, hey, we're going to hit the Tony Dungy button, and hey, we appreciate your service. Right. You've taken this team as far as you can go. We need another voice, right? And we're going to go with this. And when it was Tony, when it was his time to leave, The defense was intact. It was Super Bowl ready. Maybe this offense is Super Bowl ready under Zach Robinson. They just need a new defensive coordinator. And for that to happen, you got to fire Todd Bowles because he's the head coach and the DC.
It's a point well made because, that offense in 2024, they were top 5 in like every important category. They were the best in some categories as well. They were up there with points per game. They're rushing
down conversions. Yeah.
And yes, they're down conversions. Baker never had a better completion percentage than he did that year. Going into next season, if your offense is balling out, the only person you're pretty much losing is Chris Godwin Jr. at that point. And you could technically keep him if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You'd have to figure out Baker as well, because are you going to tag him? Can you come to a extension with them? Outside of that, everyone else is under contract except for Cody Mount, and you could probably figure something out there. And then you rely on your young core of 2 wide receivers you see on the screen there: Emeka Egbuka and Jalen McMillan, plus Tez Johnson, plus Bucky Irving. So, a great offense this season. Even if the Bucs are losing, it's not exactly tanking time. It's just find a new defense.
I'm with you. Yep.
Devin G, thank you for this $4.99 super chat. Says, curious to know what Jason had planned and was excited about executing this offseason.
I think Jason would tell you free agency just started at 4 o'clock. So
correct.
That's what he would say. We're still early. This team they're going to sign players. I mean, we're not even close to 90 players to take the training camp. There's going to be additions. You're going to feel better about this team. But are you going to feel that this team is, a legit Super Bowl contender when it's all said and done? I doubt it. Probably going to have to take the Missouri slogan, show me, right, when the season rolls around. You're not going to feel as good about this team as you did last year, right? 10 wins this year. Gosh, all the Pewter reporters are saying 11 wins this year. That makes sense, Then you have the hot start. Oh, my gosh, we could get 11 wins. Probably not going to feel that good, and that's okay. But, they're going to have, and I said this on T-Kraz in the 3 o'clock hour in WDE, this can't be a home run draft for Jason Light. This has got to be a grand slam. You got to find 4 starters, and that's okay because you've done that. And every year you found 4 starters in your drafts. This year, it's got to be like 2020. You got to find, 2 stars. And I don't care if they're first and second round picks like Wirfs and Winfield were. It could be first and third, second and fourth, whatever. You got to find 2 studs out of your 4 starters. This has got to be that kind of draft if you're not going to do much in free agency, right? And maybe what they're doing in free agency, and maybe they're trying to find that 1-year cheap deal for a veteran to come in and, and play in Tampa Bay, is they think Yaya Diaby is worth keeping. And at $22 million, what they're thinking is long-term, he is going to be that high-priced guy. And we'll draft an edge rusher in the first or second round, and they'll be on a rookie contract for 4 or 5 years. And then when Yaya, who's an older player to begin with, when Yaya wears out his contract, we'll give that money, that big pass rusher money, to the first or second round pick edge rusher that they draft this year. And that's not a bad strategy if it works. If you hit on that first or second round guy, the Cassius Howell, the Akeem Mesidor, the R. Mason Thomas, whoever they end up getting, you got to hit on that guy if you're going to wait this long to get an impact pass rusher. And again, you're going to pair him with a Bosa, and Al-Quadin Muhammad, whoever's left in free agency with Bradley Chubb going to the Bills now.
Yeah, it all sounds like a sound strategy. It's just they have not proven that they can find that edge rusher, and that's probably the most concerning thing. Robbie Gordon, thank you for this $10 super chat. We appreciate it. Says, sick of, and in quotations, value us. We pay for tickets, Sunday ticket, and travel for our for out-of-state fans like me. We deserve better, Glazer kids. Took Tom effing Brady for them to actually spend big to win.
Yeah, I mean, again, you may not want to hear it, and I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news here by any stretch of the imagination. It's my job to report the facts, and the facts are Spend money, Glazers. Spend money, Jason. These are the cap values this year. Baker Mayfield, $39.9 million. Tristan Wirfs, $36.3 million. Chris Godwin, $33.6 million. Antoine Winfield Jr., $27.4 million. Luke Gedeke, $22.6 million. Vita Vea, $22.1 million. And that's the cutoff, right? Then you have Zion McCollum, $15.5 million. He's next, right? And that's it for the double digits. Then you have Ben Bredesen at 8.7. That's solid money for a starting guard. He's not a Pro Bowl guy. So which one of those guys do you not want them to keep? You want them to spend more money. Somebody's got to go. Who do you want it to be? Which one or two of those guys do you want to swap out for a new shiny toy that's making $20 million or more? Because that's what you're asking. And I'm not faulting you. I'm just asking a legitimate question. And if you say, well, get rid of Chris Godwin. Okay, I'm with you. But that money's guaranteed this year.
Yeah.
So.
No, exactly. And I think part of it, too, is the Bucs have spent money, but it's on their same people. So it's re-signing. So it's not the shiny new toy that you're dangling in front of everybody. Yep. And then part of me feels like the front office has fallen in love with, hey, we will find the next Shaq Barrett. And by that, I mean an inexpensive free agent that didn't have a lot of playing time on another team or just, didn't have the stat production. So you find them very inexpensive, and then they go bonkers for your team, the way that Shaq Barrett did in 2019, breaking the single-season sack record, the way that he helped them win a Super Bowl and had a dominant game in that Super Bowl as well. Yeah. The thing is, that was 7 years ago when they got Shaq Barrett, all right? Like, you can't keep relying on that.
Yeah.
That happened so long ago. It's not the same in this free agency. Now, if they did find the next Shaq Barrett, fine. They can put their claim to fame on that. They can hang their hat on that, but they haven't yet. I guess the next closest thing would be Baker Mayfield, and, that's a different situation in of itself. But, I'm a little tired of the bargain hunting.
Okay.
Callie Bucks, thank you for the $4.99 super chat, says, do people not realize the Bucs will never be as aggressive as they were when Brady was here? Brady put in the request, and the Bucs tried to get them.
I'm telling you right now, Tom Brady was not the assistant general manager for this team. He just wasn't. He has said that. I've heard from enough people, not even Jason Light, but enough people in the orbit that say it was not like that. It wasn't like Jason even ran the signings by Tom first. Hey, would you mind if we sign Leonard Fournette? It wasn't even like that. Did they let Tom know, hey, we're signing Leonard Fournette? Oh, great. That sounds good. Okay. Now, AB and Gronk, those are two players, that Brady had something to do with. Why? Because AB lived at Brady's house, and naturally, Tom was like, hey, I could put a call into Gronk and maybe see if he wants to come out of retirement. That's not going to hurt. That beats
already
Jason
had a house in Tampa.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you sit there and say, okay, well, Tom Brady built the Super Bowl Buccaneers. No, he literally had influence over two people coming to Tampa. The guy that lived at his house, the crazy receiver, and that was only for half a season in the first year.
Yeah.
And then Gronk. I mean, that's it. So, but yes, the Blazers didn't open up the coffers really and go all in until they had a Super Bowl team. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't go all in right now in the Buccaneers because I don't think with Todd Bowles as the head coach, you're going to get there. I just don't.
Right. And there lies the problem is that they should have just moved on from Todd Bowles in the first place.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just saying the discrepancy with Brady as well is Tom Brady, that's a coming attraction. Players go, I want to play with Tom Brady. That's different than Tom saying, get this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy.
Yes.
Naturally, you get the big names, Richard Sherman, Le'Veon Bell, and I know they were all past their prime and everything like that. They all want to play with Tom Brady because Tom Brady typically, when he's playing, he's got a chance to win a Super Bowl, and that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
Thank you to Ryan H., who has been a Pewter Report YouTube channel member for 13 months now. Wow, that's awesome to see. Thank you, Ryan H. Says, the Bucs fumbling a second opportunity at a generational talent with ties to the dealing GM is peak downward spiral. Make this work, Glazers / Jason. That's in all caps. Or they can enjoy watching Howie outdo them again. Talking about Howie Rose.
Yeah. At the same time, too, there are other teams I'm sure that are in on Maxx Crosby, right? And we saw John
Yes.
Spytek, and I had some texts with John Spytek about the trade, and like the Bucs didn't put enough in that the Ravens did. Like he has an obligation to the Raiders organization to get the best deal for the Raiders, not his buddy Jason Light.
Yeah, I'm going to hook up my boy.
Right. It didn't work that way. This is a business first and foremost. So we'll see. The Buccaneers will literally have to put forth the best offer for John Spytek to take it, especially now. Now. Like it's got to be the best offer. So we'll see what happens. I'm not holding up. I'm not holding my breath for it. I'm not holding out hope for it. I'd like to see it. I don't think that they're not interested in getting Maxx Crosby. Maybe with fewer suitors. Maybe now that Spytek might be more apt to have to deal him with all of the salaries coming on board. Maybe they get a sweeter deal, but we'll see.
Yeah, the game has changed slightly because of what teams have already invested in other free agents, what teams have left to trade.
Yep.
And I mean, how desperate the Raiders are as well.
I will say this. I'm desperate to grow a beard and I just can't. I literally had like a stubble for a couple of days and it was all gray. You couldn't even see it anyways because I'm like 53. So I was like, damn, I just got to shave. But look at Matt Matera. Like in 2 days, he can have a full-on beard. I've got beard envy, right? Bailey Adams, Josh Capo, even Adam Slavon. Like he looks like he's like 18 years old when he shaves, and then when he grows the beard out, I'm like, damn, Adam, you look like a man now, But if you have a beard, the point I'm getting at is if you have a beard, you got to go to ruggedpiratebeard.com. These guys are fantastic. They sponsored our Bucs Battle Plan series. We all had our different scents that we liked, and they have a couple things for you to prevent the irritation and the itchiness that can sometimes happen with the beard. I don't know this firsthand, but I've heard that. And I'm sure if you have a beard, you probably understand that, guys. You want your beard moist, lubricated, and smelling great. And that's exactly what the mission is for Rugged Pirate Beard Company. And whether it's the beard oils or the beard butters, they have literally over 50 different scents that you can choose from with really cool pirate names like Captain Ashbourne and Gridiron and Yeti and Blackbeard and Longleaf and just amazing scents. So please, please, please support our advertisers. Go to ruggedpiratebeard.com. Just check out the website. You're going to be blown away. The graphics are cool as hell. And the great thing is most of the beard oils are less than $10, right? And they're shipped right to your door. The beard butters, a little bit more, but you're getting a lot more with that in terms of the size. But it's a fantastic price. Do yourself a favor. If you got a birthday coming up, your wife or girlfriend, if they're looking for something to give you, put her onto this website, ruggedpiratebeard.com. Check it out. Florida-owned business, huge Tampa Bay fans, huge Pewter Report fans. And we'd love to see everybody there. At least check out the website. I think you're going to like some of the products. In every single beard oil, right, or beard butter, they've got the fragrance profile there, right? So it tells you what it smells like. And a lot of them are really, really cool and woodsy and leathery and smoky and manly. And then there's some, if you want like a sweeter beard, if you want something that's a little bit more fragrant, they got those too. But Matt, I mean, you've certainly used the product before. You can attest to it.
Yeah, great smell, like right off the bat before I even put it on the beard. It definitely stands out, which is what you want, but you're not overdoing it at the same time, which is really important. And it certainly gets the job done. So appreciate Rugged Pirate Beard. They also like my Bucs Battle Plan the most. They said it themselves on social media. So
I liked it.
That I do appreciate as well. Yes, thank you. Yes, you did say that publicly on the podcast. So thank you for that. But yes, great product. Definitely recommend to everybody. Moving on, thank you to Monster Jam Fever for being a Pewter Report YouTube channel member for 5 months now as you're on the road doing all the different Monster Jams. Says, honestly, this mediocre management and the fact that there is no urgency really kind of makes me upset. You see bottom 5 teams making more moves than the Bucs every year. We lose Evans, possibly because he doesn't see us doing nada.
Well, I think sometimes when you look at the teams that make all the moves, is because they have the cap room, because they've tanked and they've shed their roster. Look what the Dolphins have done this offseason, right? Just shedding
Correct.
players to create the cap room because you're in a rebuild. So it's more fun to talk about, the new players that are coming. And I get that. But I'm just going to rewind the clock a little bit to Jason Licht's first year. He got every single player, pretty much every player that Lovie Smith wanted. He got Josh McCown. He got Clinton McDonald, which was actually probably the best signing. He had Anthony Collins, the left tackle, right? He got Michael Johnson, the big pass rusher, right? Alteron Werner. He got all these players. And like the most unheralded signing, Clinton McDonald, the nose tackle, was probably the best one. They spent a ton of money, and it didn't turn out to. They traded away Darrelle Revis. It didn't turn out. I mean, they went from 4-12 under Schiano to 2-14. So sometimes free agency doesn't work, just like draft picks don't hit. Sometimes free agents don't hit. Look no further than Hassan Reddick. It's a crapshoot either way.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times you see the teams that do spend the most in free agency typically are in the same exact spot, being a losing team. So, sometimes you got to heed with caution when it comes to it. Ethan Ennis, thank you for the $4.99 super chat, says, realistically, if I was Light, I pivot to
Al-Qadim Muhammad.
Yeah, Al-Qadim Muhammad from the Lions on a short-term deal as possible. That or trade a day 2 pick for Bernard if I'm desperate.
This is actually a pretty decent player. It's just weird because he had 11 sacks last year. But he's not super technically sound. He's a mean player, which I like. He plays nasty and hard. He's physical. He's a maximum effort guy. So out of what's left, maybe I would be most intrigued by him. He would be coming here hungry on another 1-year prove-it deal. Just was last year a fluke, or is that kind of a sign of things to come? Is he a late bloomer? He's 30 years old, and he's been on several teams now, including the Bears and the Colts, and just hasn't had the light bulb switch. And maybe that was playing opposite Aiden Hutchinson too, right? Like you got to factor that in
for sure.
But is he a upgrade over Hassan Reddick? Probably at this point,
definitely. Almost anyone is.
So for him, and then if you spend a first or second round pick on another edge rusher, and you have David Walker coming back, and if he turns into something, might be a better room than it was last year. Is it going to be enough? That remains to be seen.
Right. That's the big question in all of it.
Yeah.
Batman, thank you for the $1.99 super chat and for protecting the streets of Gotham.
Yes.
Says first round pick and Barton for Max Crosby. Now the Raiders did draft Jackson Powers Johnson a while ago.
Same draft.
The Bucs same draft. From the Bucs perspective, if the Raiders would agree to it and you only have to give up one draft capital, Barton, you trade him, you move Bredesen to center, maybe you draft Jennings Dunker, put him at guard. Like there are ways to maneuver that. I think if that's what it came down to getting Crosby, which I'm not saying John Spytek agrees to that for Las Vegas, but I'd be open to it.
I'd be open to it too. Especially with Ben Bredesen on the roster. And I thought he played pretty well at center at the start of the season.
For sure. And like to me, the tackles are untouchable. You don't even think about moving them. But anyone else on that O-line, I think you consider it, especially obviously the appeal with Barton.
And there's some good guards in this draft too. I mean, like, if you draft a guard and you move Ben Bredesen to center, like that's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. Robbie Gordon, thank you for the $2 super chat, says pick a lane, either go for a ring or rebuild. Yeah, it's always tough when you're in mediocrity. Like that's the worst spot you could be in.
It really is, Matt. I mean, it's a malaise. It's nobody feels good. It's like you're right there. So it's kind of a tease. It's like, we could have or we should have been better. Should have won that game. We're so close in some respects, right? But then you're not. Like you're in purgatory. You're not. You have a losing record. You're losers. Didn't make the playoffs. You lost the division. It stinks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like this was a 5-win team that's like, oh my God, they improved by 3 wins. Like next year they'll improve by 2 more, and then they'll be a double digit. Like this is a team that's just kind of like, okay, they're good, then they're pedestrian, then they're okay, then they're pedestrian again. Like there's never been that major jump.
And at least
2025 was supposed to be that jump.
Exactly. And if this team were 3-14, then you have a top 5 pick, you have a new coach, at least, there's, let's hit the reset button, the rebuild, the retool, whatever you want to call it. And there's hope now that we'll springboard back up. And look, the Patriots did it quickly. We can do it quickly too. And, I get it.
Kings are awful. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Says this is taking we like our guys to the next level, except no one but them like their guys. If no serious moves are made, Light needs to go as well. Well, given the Glazers' hesitancy to move on from anyone, Jason's probably good for quite a while. But yeah, I mean, if they don't keep winning, it's certainly not going to shine well on anyone.
Yeah. Listen, again, if the master cloakroom dark shadow strategy is we're going to let Todd Bowles coach this year, and he's going to have to show he's the defensive mastermind still, and he's going to have to show that these new assistants he hired, even the promotion guys, that they're better. If that's the strategy and it leads to him, falling flat on his face, and they have a new head coach next year, I'm okay with that, right? I am.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, he was saying at the combine.
Yeah, or surprise us, like be better. Win 11 or 12 games. Show us you can do more than mediocrity and 4-game losing streaks.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one at the combine saying we're not that complex. Our defense, it's not that over the top schematical. I don't drop my edge rushers too much on defensive play calls. All right, well then prove it, because everything else we're seeing does not show that. But if you believe it, it has to be true. Again, Seinfeld, George Costanza. It's not a lie if you believe it. So yeah, I mean that's Todd Bowles right now. He's lying to himself, but he believes it. Therefore, it is not.
Hold on, I just got to share this. I saw Jerry Seinfeld live in concert in Kansas City back in the '90s when Seinfeld was on. Still to this day, my favorite stand-up line for him is like, "Grape nuts. I don't get it. No grapes, no nuts."
Yeah,
it's like the perfect observation. It's basically like gravel that you pour milk on and then eat it with the spoon. I don't get it either.
I kept saying during the Super Bowl, I hate the Drake. I hate the Drake. Obviously, that scene as well. So shout out Jerry Seinfeld from my hometown.
There we go.
Tristan Huff, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Says, who's expendable in our defense? So we can either trade up or add in a Maxx Crosby trade. Winfield Jr., trade up to the 5 or 6 spot to get a for-sure pass rusher or a game changer. And it ends that with Cam Jordan.
No. I don't see Cam Jordan.
I think hell might freeze over.
Yeah, I would love to see
in a Bucs jersey.
I'd love to see the press conference though, with Cam Jordan sitting next to Jason Light at the same table with the Bucs helmet and the 2 microphones. I would just like in an alternate Marvel, universe. I'd love to see that just for the optics of it. Speaking of seeing, we probably should let you all know our podcast is going to be delayed tomorrow. Not sure exactly what time. Probably around 5 o'clock. And the reason why is because we're actually going to be meeting a couple of the new Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're talking about Alex Anzalone and Kenneth Gainwell. And we're also going to talk to Kate Otten as well. So we're going to have those players are going to have some media availability. It's going to be in the afternoon, like somewhere in the 3 to 4 o'clock hour.
3:45 is what is scheduled as the first one. But also we can't guarantee those press conferences are on time. But yeah, they are starting pretty late in the afternoon, which I found a little surprising, but maybe that means the Bucs will be wheeling and dealing in the morning, trying to add some more players to the team.
Yeah. So we'll have that podcast tomorrow. Again, here's what I'm asking everybody to do. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, do it. It's free. Just go to your YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV, hit subscribe, then hit notifications, because then every time I drop a Pewter Pulse video or any type of video comes out from our Pewter Report TV YouTube channel, or like an emergency podcast, or if we have a different time for our podcast, like tomorrow, then you're going to get a notification. You can check it out right there. So that's what we have on tap. Friday, we will have a Pewter Insider at 1:30. Haven't built the graphic yet because don't know what the hell this team's going to be doing between now and then. But we're going to talk about whatever is happening or not happening. We might do another show and nothing, Matt. It's worked out pretty well today. And there's actually been something. Yeah. If you missed the early part of the show, Sean Tucker is back, thankfully. I think that's a really good move. And the team also signed Jake Browning to be the backup quarterback and compete with Connor Bazelak. So he's got some experience with the Bengals. I like that move, honestly, better than Teddy Bridgewater. I just, I know Bridgewater had a good showing in the Steelers game. I just didn't feel like he was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer last year. I just felt like he was kind of a hired gun, and I don't know. I talked to him a couple times. He just didn't feel like he even wanted to be there. I mean, he was there. He could have opted to retire, but I don't know. Like I was
then he just went back to the Lions too, which is
that's
I
what
thought he would have went back to coaching.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to be in Tampa. I think he made up his mind. He's like, all right, well, I got to stick it out now. But I just didn't feel at any point in time like he was like committed to the Buccaneers. So like that's fine with me. Jake Browning next up.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of tough for. Like, he didn't really play that much besides the Rams game.
Yeah,
that day he flew in the day of. But, Jake Browning and Sean Tucker, a Super Bowl, here the Bucs come. By the way, thank you to all of our Pewter Platinum members. We appreciate each and every one of you. So we'll let your names scroll at the bottom of the screen. And as Scott mentioned, we will have a Pewter Insider on Friday at 1:30. We'll answer all of your questions and comments. And, of course, our Platinum and Premier members will be in on that one.
Yep.
Anyway, where did we leave off? Appreciate everyone super chatting us. What's bucking? Thanks for the $5 super chat. Says, are the Glazers preventing Light to make deals or trades?
Don't know. And I don't think it's not just Pewter Report. It's been awfully quiet. Our colleagues too, I think, would say the same thing. Haven't really heard much from One Buck Place. So just odd. Something's afoot, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Maybe we'll learn something in the near future, but usually we have some back channel dialogue, a lot more than we have had during free agency. This has just been kind of a weird year. So I'm not sure why that's been the case, but it's not just us either. It's not like you're hearing a lot of other Bucs news from other sources. So don't know what's going on.
In other words, you're hearing nothing. Realtor David Sussman. Thank you for the $9.99.
There we go, David. Come on. Here we go.
David Sussman, we've had you in mind for this show is dedicated to you.
I know.
An
hour and 3 minutes. Thanks for waiting patiently. Here you go. Let's go.
Yes. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. David Sussman says, I hope fellow Bucs fans finally realized how incompetent Jason Light is. This was not a one-year blunder. Jason Light sucks in free agency and misses defensive first-round picks way too much.
Thank you, David.
We appreciate your passion. And,
absolutely.
Right now, this free agency sucks. So you might be onto something.
Yep.
Not that I think Jason Light sucks, but not the moves you want to see.
Yep.
Darius the Great, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Says Clowney plus Allen plus Howell plus Lawrence, maybe.
Yeah. Is that CJ Allen?
I think CJ Allen. Yeah, Cassius Howell.
That or JC Allen, but I think he's probably a better offensive Pop Warner coach than an NFL player at this stage of his career. But yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, that sounds good to me.
You got to take someone.
I think Malachi Lawrence is probably a second rounder at this point. From what I've heard, he's a second round pick. So probably either Howell or Lawrence, or if you want to take Howell first, then it's either CJ Allen or Howell, right? Then you're probably not getting Lawrence. So I don't know. I put Jacob Rodriguez in there over any of those guys.
Yeah, you're missing your guy on that one. Yep. Some more edge rusher and draft prospect Huck. Thank you to T Level for the $2 super chat. Says Cassius Howell or R. Mason Thomas, if not Bosa.
I will co-sign with either one of those guys.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with either. Just make
Yep.
sure you get one of them. Sap Drive, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says another pass rusher gone. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Say it, Matt.
That's
They're doing
nothing. A whole lot of nothing. The Real Maverick, thank you for this $2 super chat. Says SR, any chance Jason Light trades up to get a top edge rusher?
All right. So when you say top, like who do you mean? Because here's the thing. I like Reuben Bain. I don't think Reuben Bain is a bulletproof prospect, especially as a 3-4 outside linebacker type. I don't know that he is bulletproof. In other words, I can't look at him and say, oh, that's Will Anderson Jr. Like I want to believe that. I don't know that that's Will Anderson Jr. right there, right? A double-digit sacker, a Pro Bowler, and all that. David Bailey, I think he's a good player. I don't know that he is going to be as dominant in the NFL as he was in college. Remember, he was also rushing opposite Romello Height. And there's sometimes that where Romello Height gets there first. But those two worked in conjunction. I saw that firsthand at the K-State Texas Tech game where they destroyed my Wildcats. And I was happy to see it because I'm a big fan of their defense. They had Lee Hunter inside helping, lining up right next to David Bailey. You had Skylar Gil Howard, who is the other defensive tackle who's going to get drafted. So you have 4 NFL players on that line. I'm not sure David Bailey is a bulletproof edge rusher. Like, in other words, would it surprise me if Cassius Howell ends up being better than David Bailey in time? It wouldn't surprise me. Am I saying it's going to happen? No, not necessarily, but it wouldn't surprise me. So then it's like, all right, Arville Reese, not a fan. Is he a linebacker? Is he an edge rusher? I don't know. He's Jalen Walker to me. He's kind of like a tweener. He's a master. Was it jack of all trades, master of none? I'm a little hesitant there. So I don't know. I don't think there's that one clear cut Will Anderson Jr. He is the dynamite, blow it up edge rusher prospect. There's a lot of good guys this year. And there's guys in the second or third round that I think might be better than the first round guys. I don't know who they are. I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Because this was last year's draft class. Like, all right, like go out and get not Chop Robinson, Abdul Carter. Like, go out and get Abdul Carter. Like, he's your top pass rusher, no question about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a coin flip with who are you even taking after Mendoza, and also like how far are you willing to trade up? Like the Jets have the second pick. The Jets also have another first-round pick this year and 3 first-round picks next year. Yeah. They don't really need to trade down. I mean, I guess they could trade down if they wanted to, but throwing another first-round pick at them is not exactly enticing. And then at that point, if you're not trading for 2, can you trade to like 8 or something like that? And then is Sonny Styles on the board at that point? And then do you go Sonny Styles versus an overall edge rusher? So I don't think they're going to trade up, especially. I don't either.
Yeah. They have too many needs to be able to sacrifice draft capital to move up to get that. The other thing too is I'm with your strategy, Matt. I think we're seeing this the same way. I would rather stay put or trade down, and I'd rather get 2 edge rushers this year and double my odds of hitting on one of them than trading up and trying to get a guy that may or may not be that guy. I mean, Malachi Lawrence might be the best of the bunch. Akeem Mesidor might be the best of the bunch. Zion Young might put it all together. He might be the best. I don't know, right? I don't know who is that guy. Nobody does. But I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me with this edge class, which goes 3 rounds deep, if there aren't some guys that are ending up being better than some of the guys that get drafted in the top 15.
Yeah, because the Bucs are kind of in that no man's land spot where, and I've done a bunch of mock drafts at this point on PFF, so I've seen it play out, and I get the PFF mock draft simulator is not the same as what these GMs and front offices are going to do. But I think there's certainly a reality where the Bucs are getting ready to pick a 15, and Cassius Howell's off the board.
Yep.
CJ Allen is off the board.
Yep.
Akeem Mesidor is off the board. Then what are you doing? Are you just going to sit and pick right there, or are you going to trade back then get Jacob Rodriguez in round 2, and then maybe another edge rusher in round 1. But you have 2 second-round picks this time around. And you can essentially get 2 inside linebackers or 2 edge rushers and an inside linebacker because you didn't love what you have at 15. So I think it's it's way more likely that they trade back than they trade, closer to the top 10.
I'm looking at the current edge room right now, right? You have Yaya, technically number 1 right now because Hassan Reddick hasn't been re-signed. He's not going to be re-signed. So you have Yaya number 1. And then you've got Anthony Nelson just based on his experience. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if Todd were to line up today, those would be the starters. You're hopeful that David Walker would be at least number 3, and then Braswell 4. So you need one more guy for sure. And then I'm looking to replace Chris Braswell right now. So I'm looking for 2 more guys to where, if the only guys that I had on my roster, and I'm fine with having Anthony Nelson as a training camp casualty as well. Sure. If you sign a new edge rusher like a Al-Quadin Muhammad, right? Let's say he's your 1-year veteran guy. You have Yaya and you keep David Walker. There's 3. I'm fine with drafting 2 more guys and going into 2026 with a completely revamped room. You're
I like that.
You're getting really your first crack at David Walker because he didn't play last year, and you have 2 new guys. Just remake the whole room.
I like that strategy. I think it's a good strategy. Realtor David Zussman, thank you for the $4.99. Says, I know many here don't like polls, but rest assured, no coach can overcome Jason Light's incompetence. The 3rd and 28 really happens in the offseason. I respect your commitment to the nature. Because it's never over the line. It's never we banned someone in the comments yesterday. It's you're perfectly more than fine to, share your disdain for parts of the Bucs. So message received. David Dustin. Chris Scott, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Says Maxx Crosby and Stefon Diggs were back in the spotlight and competing. I don't see the need for Stefon Diggs. We spent a lot of the show talking about Maxx Crosby because Diggs, first of all, from his perspective, he's not going to want to come to the Bucs unless he's the top target.
Right.
The Bucs are going to say, we have Emeka Buka, Chris Godwin, and Jalen McMillan, who all arguably could be a top target on this team. Why would we bring in Stefon Diggs? At best, he's 3rd string, and then he's just going to bitch about it. So I don't see the Diggs signing.
I agree.
There's probably another spot he can go to and be a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2. So doesn't make sense for Diggs either. CJ, thank you for the $4.99. Says, as it stands, based off of the non-moves, we're tanking. It'll be more telling if we don't sign Baker this year. Also, thank you guys for being my Bucs therapy. We're very happy to help. We appreciate you for always joining the show, bringing comments and everything like that. And we're here, rain or shine, with this team, whether they're winning Super Bowls or if they're, tanking and trying to get a top 5 pick. So
that's right.
Thanks for the kind words. Turner Baker Music, thank you for the $4.99. Says, why not call the Giants to see what it would take for Kayvon Thibodeau, 25 years old, and his last year of his rookie deal? I agree with you, Turner Baker Music. I had that in my Bucs battle plan. It would cost the Bucs $14.75 million, I believe. The Giants are looking to shed cap, and it's not like this guy has just struggled for all of his career. He's dealt with some injuries here and there, but let's also remember the Giants have Brian Burns and they drafted Abdul Carter. So he kind of got pushed to the side because of the other talent on that team. You give a 4th rounder for Thibodeau, you bring him to this team, fresh start, fully healthy, recovering this during the season and everything like that. He instantly becomes your number 1 edge rusher. I mean, sure, he can compete with Yaya, but I like it.
Well, he's a different body type than Yaya too, right? He's got some juice to him. 6'5", 258. He's a little bit more of like a quick twitch guy. 11.5 sacks his 2nd season in the NFL. That was in 2023. He had 4 sacks as a rookie, 11.5 the next year. So you have that, at least he's shown he can do it, right? And then the next year he missed 5 games due to injury, 5.5 sacks. I'd take that over Hassan Reddick, right? I mean, I'm just saying. And then last year, like you said, lost in the shuffle a little bit with the additions.
It's not just like he played the whole year and only had 2.5 sacks. It's because the Giant. First of all, he missed time again. I believe he only played 10 games.
7 games, right?
Yeah. Played in 10 games, missed 7 games.
Yep.
Math. But yeah, the Giants had other guys, and that's
Right.
why. So, and the last time the Bucs traded for an edge rusher on the Giants, it worked out pretty well. So
worked out pretty well. Yeah.
Why not try it again?
Yep.
The YouTube Streets, thank you for the $9.99 super chat, says, I don't know if this has been asked yet or if you all talked about it, but if we had to trade a player along with a draft pick for Crosby, who would it be?
I've actually done some hypotheticals, and the name that I keep hearing is Yaya Diaby, only because you're set to give him $20+ million. And with Crosby having 30, I don't know that this team has the budget or the Blazers have the stomach to sit there and pay 2 edge rushers a combined $50+ million. So I think that's it. It's kind of like, hey, we'd rather sacrifice our B edge rusher to get the A edge rusher, right? And then we'll draft the guy and hope David Walker comes around. A lot easier to find the Greg Spires than it is the Simeon Rice, right? Like that's, the Simeons, those are not a dime a dozen. They're a diamond. And the guys at Greg Spires, the workman-like guys that help you out and be that number 2 edge rusher, they're easier to find.
Plus from the Raiders' perspective, like you're taking on Yaya.
Yeah.
If he doesn't work out, like he's inexpensive, you don't have to re-sign him after the season. Winfield, would be so tough to give up, but like financially, it would make a little bit more sense. So I think those are some of the options.
I agree.
Plus, like if you traded Yaya, ideally you're still drafting an edge rusher, depending on how much you're giving up for Crosby,
right?
And you got David Walker in the hopper.
Yeah. The other scenario now that Mike is gone, and like what was told to me is they're not moving Chris if they lose Mike, and of course that's what happened. They lost Mike, so now they don't want to lose Chris. But in this instance, I don't know if the Blazers or if the Raiders would take him, but you would unload that $22 million salary. You're giving Fernando Mendoza, granted he's coming off, of a less than stellar season, but you're giving him a proven receiver, an absolute leader, the same type of high character guy that you're giving up and leaving the Raiders organization to Maxx Crosby. You're getting that type of guy in Chris Godwin, who will shepherd a young receiving core in Las Vegas and help bring them along. And then what you do is if you have Maxx Crosby, then maybe your whole strategy is flipped on head, and you say, you know what? Maybe we can draft another wide receiver in the first round now.
Yeah, right.
Maybe we can get Mike's report. Maybe get Denzel Boston or something, and you go get a wide receiver in the first or second round, because you don't have to draft an edge rusher in the first or second round. Maybe you draft an edge rusher in the third or fourth round, a guy like Nadeem Tucker or something, that you bring in the mix as another young pass rusher, but you focus on wide receiver. We'll see.
And I looked at that as well, because in my Bucs battle plan, I did trade Chris Godwin Jr., but that was to bring back Mike Evans. And my thought behind the Raiders, and you already explained some of it, but like obviously John Spytek knows Chris Godwin Jr.
Yes.
Obviously Tom Brady knows Chris Godwin Jr.
Yes.
And Mendoza needs someone to throw the football too. Remember, they traded Jacoby Myers, and they don't have like a ton of draft picks where like you're not going to get a stellar wide receiver that Mendoza's going to throw to right away. And plus, that would be rookie and rookie.
Yeah.
Might as well have a veteran that Mendoza can go and throw to, and start building that confidence from day one, and then draft another receiver in the second round. Whatever.
And to your point with those Raiders draft picks, I think Spytek, having been in Tampa, worked alongside Jason Light, and seen how it's worked out in Tampa. Yeah, you got to protect the quarterback. Almost like those premier draft picks have got to be used to fortify that Raiders offensive line, right? And I'm not a Raiders expert. I don't know where the holes are, but man, I think you want to start there rather than use premium picks on wide receivers. And if you have Chris Godwin, you can get away with that for a year. Have Godwin, and you draft a receiver in the third or fourth round, and then the next year, after you use some premium draft capital, build that line for Mendoza, then maybe you target in the first rounds in 2027 a big receiver or something for Mendoza.
I like it. Michael Larry, thank you for the $4.99 super chat, says, outside of trading for a big-time pass rusher, nothing can make this offseason feel like a success with us losing Mike. Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, he's a legend, future Hall of Famer, means everything to the community. So I get that. And even if they did get Crosby, I think a lot of people would still be like, I'd rather have Mike. And I still miss Mike. So
I get it.
I get it. FLTB, thank you for the $4.99 super chat, says, so far this offseason would be Culver House approved. Of course, talking about the former ownership of Tampa Bay before the Glazers came through.
Yep. Notorious cheap owner, by the way, Hugh Culverhouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Greg DeCruz, thank you for the $5 super chat, says, SR, if you wouldn't go all in with this roster, then that screams rebuild. Maybe it is time to tear it down.
See, here's the thing. I'm kind of leaning into what Matt's saying. Like, give me another coach and coaching staff with this roster. I think this group is underachieving. You know,
Bingo. Underachieving.
Like outside of Mike leaving, this is the same team that, we expected to win 11 games last year, and they were kind of on pace for it. Shit, in the first half of the season, they already had 6, So to me, my spider sense is tingling. I just don't feel like this head coach / defensive coordinator, I don't think that he's got it to take this team any further than what he's done. And thank God this team is in the NFC South, man.
Yeah.
He'd be fired by
maybe
now.
the tank would already be on. Or the
yeah.
firing would have happened.
Yeah.
One of those two. Stitch Happens Cat, thank you for the $4.99 super chat, says, in the infamous words of Colonel Schultz, I see nothing.
I see nothing.
Honestly, I see nothing.
Yes.
Honestly, guys, as a longtime season ticket holder, I'm trying to find some enthusiasm.
Yeah.
It's difficult to find.
Good news is, Kat, the next month is April, not September, right? So we still have a long way to go. And, again, they need like literally 30 more players on this roster to get the training camp. There's going to be a lot of new players. And, we'll see who they get.
Yeah, still some time. Laurent Valles Jr., thank you for the $20 super chat. We appreciate it. Says, reports were that the Bucs were incredibly high on David Walker before his injury. That's very true.
Yep.
Is there confidence in him? The reason they haven't gotten aggressive to get an edge in free agency. I can't make sense of it otherwise.
No, that's not it. And I have checked with that, and no, they're not banking on or counting on David Walker to step in as a starter. That wasn't the plan last year. I think, again, in an alternate Marvel universe, when Hassan Reddick went down in the Lions game with that knee and ankle injury, and if David Walker had been on the roster, I think he probably is the starter from that point on.
Yeah.
Not that he would have necessarily earned it, right? Like coming out of training camp, but like that would have been the default. And I think he would have gotten better with more playing time. And you could just see how that could have happened.
Just the experience alone. Yeah,
exactly. So having said that, I think it can happen, but no, they're not counting on it. And again, it's like they drafted him to kind of replace Chris Braswell. And that's that's one of one move. There's 5, if not 6 outside linebackers. So now it's like you need somebody to replace Hassan Reddick. You need somebody to replace Chris Braswell, right? Anthony Nelson, this very well could be his last season. He's in a contract year. So, that's not stopping this team from getting more edge rushers. They need them because you have to replace those guys.
Right. I'm excited for David Walker really getting his first crack at the NFL.
Me too.
But I can't say that like, oh, he's gonna produce big time for the Bucs. I just can't. That'd be silly at this point. Justin Parks, thank you for the $4.99 super chat, says, if not Max Crosby, then why not Jonathan Grenard?
I think we kind of talked about that, right?
Just diminishing production over the last couple of years. So not worth even, I think, a second round pick at that point.
If it was a second, I'd be very concerned. A third still, I probably wouldn't feel great about that. Maybe a fourth, but I think the Vikings are trying to hold on to it.
Yeah. Kahunaville, thank you for the $2 super chat. Any interest in Dre Greenlaw? I'm getting desperate.
I like Dre Greenlaw. Didn't have a big season in Denver. My memory serves me correctly. We played about half the season. Let me pull it up here. 43 tackles, a sack. He had an interception and a forced fumble. He's been injured the last couple of seasons, right? Like, he's a player now that's getting up there. He'll be 29 this year, undersized a little bit, 6 foot, 225. Better than what they have now, right? In terms of, I think he's probably like on par with Anzalone, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather them kind of just draft 2 inside linebackers.
Me too. I think it's where I'm at
maybe
right
a
now.
cheap veteran deal, something like that.
Yeah.
GM Reynolds Jr., thank you for the $4.99 super chat, says, I don't know what they're doing here, but these pretzels are making me thirsty. Shout out Kramer.
Yeah.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
What are we doing? The hell are we doing?
What'd you do to my car? I loaned you my car. Anyway, Black Gold 1999. Thank you for the 1999 super chat. We appreciate it. Says, I realize this is a bit of a stretch, but what are the chances of getting Max Crosby or Sonny Styles?
Sonny Styles, I would give up on that pipe dream right now. I
think definitely Crosby, there's more of a reality of getting him.
He's going top. I think Sonny Styles is going top 5. He's
going to Devin White it, go top 5.
He's a better prospect than Devin White. So why not? I mean, again, when you look at the Titans getting Jermaine Johnson, right? In the trade, I'm not saying that they won't get someone like Ruben Bain. I know Ruben Bain's been like mocked a lot to Tennessee, but if you're Robert Saleh and you had Fred Warner out there all those years, just commanding, controlling, patrolling the middle, commandeering, your defense, that's Sonny Styles, man. Like, Fred Warner was the best player on the 49ers defense for years and years and years. Still is, right? Just by name coming off that injury. But so why don't you want that guy again? I mean, Sonny Styles he's a unicorn. He's better than Devin White was coming out. So I would get him. I would feel better about Sonny Styles than I would about David Bailey or Ruben Bain in terms of just a prospect. I think that he's more of a slam dunk than either one of those edge rushers, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still thinking about his everything that he did at the combine, with all the testing and the numbers and stuff. It truly was incredible. So.
Yeah. And then you got the production. The dude missed like 2 tackles last year.
Yeah.
And he won a national championship the year before with Ohio State. Like, what do you not like about Sonny Styles?
Right, exactly. You used to play safety as well, moved to linebacker just because he felt like it was best for the team, not even because he wanted to. Like,
huge, strong, fast, wants to be a green dot guy, wants to call the defense. Smart
his dad
player.
played in the NFL, so comes from an NFL family. It's everything.
Yeah.
Cali Bucs, thanks for the $1.99, says, I'm interested to see how empty Raymond James Stadium will be.
Going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting.
I think the best plan for the Bucs, and you can only have so much influence on the schedule, start with 2 road games and begin the season 2-0.
Yeah.
That'll get you more fans for the season opener.
Yeah, that's
right. That's what happened last year, right? Well, I mean, there were going to be fans there anyway, but their first home game wasn't until week 3.
Yep.
Ed Wamill has been a Pewter Report YouTube channel member for 2 months now. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Oh, man. Do you think Light will have the balls to do a podcast this year? You guys will protect him from tough questions anyway. Light is such a wimp with everything. Damn, Ed Wamill.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll come on the podcast. We've had him on a couple times now. I thought I asked him some pretty pointed questions, Matt. I don't think that they were like softball questions. I'm like, why can't you draft an edge rusher? I mean, I didn't come out and say it like that. I was being a little bit more suave and a little bit more finesse about it. But I mean, that was the point of the question. I also said, like, at what point, like, you're going to have to make some tough decisions on some emotional players for you, right? Whether it's Vita, Mike, Levante, Chris eventually, right? And then he was like, well, Vita's a big part of our plan right now. Like he quickly pumped the brakes on, he's like, don't include Vita in there, But let me, I asked him some questions that made him uncomfortable. And I, wasn't trying to like grill the guy, but I mean,
He told us he hated the Saints. Made for a great video.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, also like you got to think about the context as well. Like I don't think we really lofted any like big softballs or anything like that. But also the team was coming off of a lot of success. Like this was before Josh Broussard and everything like that. Yeah, they had won 10 games. Their offense was flying high. Everybody was coming back.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to be like, hey, you just had your best season in several years. Like, what's wrong with this, and this? Like, I don't know. You're not going to be a jerk at the same time. I think context is very important when it comes to that.
I agree. Mopar, thank you.
Mopar Buck, thank you for this 1999 super chat. Says, does Jason Light's "who we're high on" phrase hold any weight? After all, he spoke this same way on Chris Braswell, the guy who was going to shock the world. So this David Walker, to me, should be viewed as depth, not as a starter.
Yeah, I think sometimes, and I think these are two different players, and I've had conversations about these two players, and I think sometimes when the head coach and the general manager are talking up a player, it's kind of like to inject some confidence into the player publicly and say, hey, we're behind you, buddy. Keep working hard. Like you got this. You're going to turn the corner. You're going to turn it on. I think there's some of that. And in hindsight, and I know this for a fact, that's exactly what that was. It was not trying to, and I'm not saying it was like he was lying or it was like a false belief. I just think that was the message, right? And it's just like how Tom Brady got called out a couple of times by Bruce Arians, right? And it wasn't like he was trying to throw Brady under the bus. He was poking the bear, right? I mean, he was using the media to kind of poke the bear a little bit, to poke Tom, and like that's okay. Like that's I know this from coaching, even like Pop Warner kids. Every kid is different. You have to press different buttons, right? This kid, I got to praise. I can't yell at him. He'll go in a shell. This kid, I have to yell at. If I'm nice, if I clap him up, he just kind of lowers the enthusiasm. If I yell at him, he amps it up. And that's the same at any player, high school, college, pro. Every player has a different button you have to press. And I think that's the button with Chris Braswell is being pressed. I don't think Chris Braswell has a lot of confidence because I don't think Chris Braswell is a very good NFL player. And I think that he's trying these moves and they're not working. And he's realizing that this is hard. And look no further. Remember, this was the guy that was out there playing into the third quarter of preseason games, going up against guys that were not going to be in the NFL. And he wasn't sniffing the quarterback, right? Go back to that Buffalo game. Who else was it? Was it Tennessee?
Pittsburgh.
Was it Buffalo? Pittsburgh, yeah. He's out there playing into the third quarter as a second-round pick from 2 years ago, and he's just not making anything happen, right? And like that's not a good sign. It's like you need that work. So get better, show us, build some confidence, beat the fourth string tackle. Oh, you're not? Oh, okay. And it's just different with David Walker. I've just had conversations with different people in the building, coaches, front office, and they're like, this guy is different. He's a different cat. Like he's freaky. He's got some freaky athleticism. And I posted a clip a couple weeks ago. Remember, David Walker, after the combine, like as he's running off the field at Indy, he's like the flips that you saw Tez Johnson do at 155 pounds. He's doing at 260. The exact same thing. The whole, we need Jenna Lane to tell us what it is, a round off and a flip or whatever,
Yeah.
He's doing that at 260. He's a freak. And so two completely different players. If he talks of David Walker, which he's probably going to, listen, because it's different than it is with Chris Braswell. Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah, and I think when training camp comes around, it's not going to take very long before David Walker is ahead of Chris Braswell on the depth chart and getting reps and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's Wes. Thanks for the $4.99 super chat. Speaking of David Walker, says a fourth rounder from Central Arkansas coming off of ACL seriously cannot be the selling point for not addressing edge properly.
Correct. And it's not. Like I said.
Yeah, it's just a bonus at this point.
It is. Yeah. He's one of He's going to replace one guy out of the 3 that you need to replace. So there's one.
Correct.
You still got to replace 2 more.
Aaron Sheff, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says Bucs media sharing the draft picks as the growing anger towards free agency disaster was funny AF. Yeah, I guess it was a little funny if you look at it that way.
Yeah.
Michael Larry, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says allegedly the Ravens wanted Crosby and Hendrickson. Meanwhile, we don't prioritize one of our most glaring needs on the defensive side. Criminal blunders. Yeah, I have seen that the Ravens GM went on the NFL Network. I mean, obviously, he's just going to say stuff that tries to make him look better, in that type of light.
Yeah.
So I don't think realistically they were going to sign both of those players.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, you could be interested in both because you go, okay, well, if we could get Max Crosby, I guess we'll go after Trey Hendrickson. I think a lot of teams feel that way too.
Sure.
FLTB, thank you for the $4.99. Says best pass rush we've ever had was in 2000, 55 sacks that season. Bulls defense has never come close to that.
That's right.
And they're coming off of their worst year. Coming off their worst year of sacks with Bulls calling the defensive plays as well. So not good either.
Yeah, and see, that is the only time the Buccaneers as a franchise have had 50 sacks or more. They've fallen short of 50 sacks every year in their Bulls. Some years 47, some years 46, some years 47, 48. Right. Last year 37. It really kind of fell off the map.
And this current roster, until they make another move or two, is not going to help get to that number either.
That's right.
Aaron Sheff, thank you for this $9.99 super chat. Says big fan of Light, but his hoarding of picks when he can't draft a pass rusher to save his life, and his best pass rusher was through trade. What the F are we doing?
That was going to be the headline of the show today. It was going to be WTF the Bucs are doing. We decided to tone it down a little bit and said, what the hell are the Bucs doing? Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett, those are the 2 best edge rushers that he's come up with, and one was through free agency, one was through a trade. Best draft pick has been Yaya Diaby, who's topped out at 7.5 sacks, and good player. Don't get me wrong. We're not throwing shade on Yaya. He's a player you want on your team. You just want somebody really good opposite.
Yaya Diaby.
Hey, he's been the best of the bunch. Best of the bunch thus far with the edge rushers. We're going to have another show tomorrow. Going to be a little bit different, slightly later, because we're getting to speak to a couple of new Bucs and a re-signing as well. Alex Anzalone, the inside linebacker, Kenneth Gainwell, the running back, and Cade Otton will all be speaking tomorrow. So Pewter Report will be in attendance for it. And we'll let you know the biggest takeaways from it, our reactions, things that we learned from those press conferences, and of course any other Bucs news and signings that comes out as well. So because those are later in the afternoon, we're going to try to gear for 5 o'clock, but could be a little bit later. It kind of just depends on how quickly those press conferences are done, but that will be tomorrow's show.
Yeah, and we'll be live from One Buc Place too, by the way. Right after those press conferences are over, we're going to be coming on there. So again, please, if you haven't, make sure you hit subscribe on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, hit the join button too and become a Pewter Report TV channel member. Greatly appreciate that. And there are different membership levels from $3.99 all the way to $24.99. If you're a Pewter Premier or Platinum member, you will get access to our Pewter Insider Show on Friday at 1:30. So there's that. That's a great bonus for you right there, in addition to a couple of other perks that you get, but greatly appreciate all the support financially from you guys. It allows us to go to places like the Combine, the NFL Scouting Combine there, Senior Bowl, NFL annual meetings, etc.
Yes, it is. And we'll end with this. Yeah, we appreciate everyone. So thank you so much. And we'll end it with this super chat. Thank you, Stephen O'Keefe, for this $1.99. It says, for all the Light haters, hear of Dominic or Allen? Talking about Mark Dominic and Bruce Allen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Jason Light hasn't looked great, but he's a Super Bowl winning GM who's, pieced together a lot of winning teams throughout the years. So, in the meantime, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you follow us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We're at Pewter Report. And our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. So please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video.
Yep.
How angry are you with the Bucs about not doing too much in free agency? But that's it for today's show. We're about to hit the hour and 40-minute mark. So how's that for a show about
We're here for
nothing?
you.
For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.
We got nothing.